All right, welcome, welcome. What's going on, y'all, man? Do you smell what the Carolina Panthers are cooking in NFL free agency, man? My goodness, Dan the man has struck again. Day one, man, already in the books. We're on to day two. Are there any more surprises left in the Carolina Panthers free agent arsenal here, man? To me, day one was enough for, if you ask me, enough for us to hold us over to the draft. But who knows, man? We still may have some moves out there. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that like button, share, subscribe if you care to. If not, don't worry about it. I still got you here with some good content here, man. So let me give you my recap here from day one. I did a little live stream earlier or yesterday. This was prior to the Devin Lloyd signing, but now I want to kind of incorporate that and kind of go back over some of the things we talked about as well. Panthers did acquire Devin Lloyd from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also picked up Kenny Pickett, backup quarterback for Las Vegas Raiders. And then the big money man, Jalen Phillips from Philadelphia Eagles, who has big expectations. And if he stays healthy, he's probably going to have a high output, or projected to have a high output here. Okay. So let's take a look at just, where we sit here, man. When you look at the Carolina Panthers' needs going into this offseason, linebacker, 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 defensive line, tight end, uh, maybe a corner, but mainly linebacker. This is probably one of the most atrocious, and I mean this no disrespect, one of the most atrocious linebacking cores in the NFL all of last year, right? I mean, you had Christian Rosenboom, you know what I mean, and a bunch of other guys. DJ Wanham, he was, DJ Wanham was hit or miss or whatever. And you had Trevian Wallace who ended up getting injured. So this was just not it was a very unsavory linebacker unit. And you know, you got to be able to get edge rushers, and not only you got to be able to get edge rushers, you also got to get guys that can stop the run and also can, play the pass. And I think we did a very good job day one of kind of checking all those boxes there. We did lose Cade Mays to the Detroit Lions. I don't think nobody's crying any tears over that. And we lost Rico Dowdle to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which, if you paid attention to Carolina Panthers' success last year, I mean, as much as we give credit to Bryce, Rico Dowdle played a big part in that last year. So to me, that's a major blow. Chuba Hubert kind of took a back seat, rode the bench or whatever. How does he feel? I mean, how does Chuba respond to coming off the bench, and now all of a sudden taking over his task? Some players can be bitter like that, you know what I mean? Some players like, man, y'all ain't believing me. Y'all had this other guy here, so y'all keep, oh, well, Chuba pick up where he left off from the year before when he had a pretty good season here. Um, so let's just kind of take a peek real quick. Let me a second here. What we did at this linebacker unit, Jalen Phillips, a guy prior to last year, was an injury-prone guy, but he had a high ceiling, still does have a high ceiling. I think 2023, he had a torn Achilles. Um, and then you turn around and had 2024 a torn ACL. But prior to that, he had seven sacks in one season. You know what I mean? And now he followed that up for the first time in 2 years last year, where he spent half the season with the Dolphins, half the season with the Eagles via a third round trade, and he ended up having a total of five sacks. So you're banking on Jalen Phillips could come in here and produce that kind of production he had in his first season, right? Now a lot of people saying, well, overpaid for him. You paid 120, right? You paid over 120, and that's a lot of money for a guy who is iffy, right? Well, you don't want to be a situation to where you feel like that Milton Williams situation, right? I believe Milton Williams had a hell of a year last year and went to the Patriots. The Panthers had Milton Williams on a hook for a deal. And I don't know if it was a financial, you know what I mean, financial obligation or something. But at the last minute, he pulled out of here, right? So it's kind of like, almost putting a deal on the table that, say, hey, look, it's going to be hard to find anywhere else, right? And yeah, there's a lot of risk, you know what I mean, because of the injury there. But, one of the things I'll put it to you like this, you got to kind of go all in with this Bryce Young fifth year experiment, right? A lot of people are still crying that Bryce did all he could, but the defense didn't help him out. Okay, so I'm looking at the 4 years Bryce been here. Year one, everybody cried about the offensive line, right? So year one, niggas cried about the offensive line. So they went out and got him offensive line. Year two, niggas cried about him not having no help. Went out and got him a receiver, right? Year three, niggas crying, you know what I mean? So now going into his fifth year option, the last step to finding out is Bryce Young, our quarterback, is to get him a solidified defense. All right. So we got the offensive line check, wide receiver check. You had a running back. We still got a solid running back check. And now, I think the only two things we need now on offense is probably a good tight end. And now on defense, and we need a defense, right? So once we fill this check right here, if Bryce goes out here and this defense plays as hellacious as it looks on paper, and he still fails, then you could obviously say, look, man, we're going to let him test free agency. But right now, we're off to a good start, man. You know what I mean? You got some fast, free-flowing linebackers here, good edge rushers. I believe wholeheartedly in Nick Scourton. He came on late, man, played big dividends, man. I'm looking at this room, and don't omit Trevion Wallace. Now, I know Trevion Wallace was hurt towards the end of last year, man. But you got I'm gonna say this, we got the best linebacking core in the NFC South, man. I don't want to say the NFL just yet, but if I'm looking at it as the NFC South, bro, we got this best linebacking core. You know what I mean? You've seen what Scourton did late. You know what I mean? Trevin Wallace, to me, he's the unsung hero. The other inside linebacker, Devin Lloyd. You know what I mean? 5 interceptions, 1.5 sacks, 35 tackles. And then you got Jalen Phillips on the outside. And the beautiful thing about that is you got Derek Brown in front of them. Okay. So the reason why you want to have a big, beefy line with fast linebackers like these guys is because a guy like Derek Brown gonna take up a double team, right? I talked about it on my other stream here, where when you got huge linemen in the 3-4 and you force a double team, now that speed is able to get hold because now two against one, it creates a void, which allows for a guy like Jalen Phillips or a guy like Scourton to come off, you know what I mean, do their thing here. So kudos to them. I am a little bit concerned about this offensive line. We did lose Cade Mays. So today, and then we still got Akeem Kwanu recovering, right? Not only do we got Akeem Kwanu recovering, you got Taylor Moton who's getting old. So today I would like to kind of see what's out there. Maybe we can get a budget offensive lineman. Haven't seen too many of them go. I mean, I know we've seen Tyler Linbaum get traded. Let's see what's out there real quick. You got Rasheed Walker from the Packers, tackle there. I don't know how comfortable they feel with Josh Neiman if he had to start the season today. More than likely, you know what I mean. Um, at some point, we're probably gonna see Josh Neiman in the rotation. You know what I mean? So, but is that enough? I mean, I know he's been solid. He's been around. You know what I mean? He's been around the world and back. But to me, we got to get offensive linemen in the draft, right? Okay. So in the free agency, we still got Rasheed Walker out there that's available at tackle from the Packers. What else do we got? You got Joey Benito from the Browns, excuse me. He's 34 years old, man. I don't know if we want to kick tires on an old dude. You know what I mean? Let's see what else we got. Don't forget, we still got Brady Christensen push come to shove. We can slide him in there. You know what I mean? Um, let's see. We got Jonah Williams of the Arizona Cardinals, who's still available here. Braden Smith, offensive tackle from the Colts, available. And that's a bit about it for the offensive line, man. You got Wyatt Taylor as well, 31-year-old. We got a bunch of old offensive linemen that are available. So if you're looking to kind of just bring in some veteran leadership and just kind of get you some, say, hey, I trust these guys based off of the veteran leadership. What I mean? It's a rent a center deal. You know what I mean? If you just kind of want to keep it together until, Moulton, not Moulton, but till Hakeem gets back, or maybe if Moulton, has the insurance policy, or maybe you're cool with what you got. Maybe you say, hey, I'm cool with what I got. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go ahead and just draft through the draft somebody young and groom them. You know what I mean? Because right now, the only offensive linemen that are available, man. Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis, Taylor Moton, and Austin Corbett. Austin Corbett, we know he had that knee issue, you know what I mean? So that's a liability there. And then, you're looking at Yash Neiman to start the season off. You know what I mean? As far as our depth chart, Brady Christensen's the only viable option to me. Chandler Zavalia, you know what I mean? I'm about ready to write Zavalia off. He can't stay healthy either. So, I don't know. At number, where are we at? What are we drafting at? Let me see. We're drafting at number 19, right? Okay. So here's what I'm looking at. There's only two options to me, okay? A lot of you guys excited, talking about we need to go wide receiver. You better hope and pray either one of these two guys fall. And that's Spencer Fano from Utah, big 6'6", 301-pound kind of guy. And if we can't get him, then the next best option is get Monroe Freeland, my Georgia Bulldogs, go dog, sick him. This guy is a mammoth of a player, bro. 6'7", 315 pounds, bro. 21 years young. Okay. Monroe Freeling from the University of Georgia it should be our number one pick if it's not Spencer Fano, man. So we'll see. I think there's gonna be a lot of reaching like that always is in this NFL draft. People are always gonna go after the sexy pick, right? Everybody wants the sexy pick, the you know, the outer space guy, the wide receiver, the running back, those kind of guys. So hopefully if we're lucky, we get one of these guys. But with Bryce Young going to his fifth year option, you don't want to leave any stones unturned, right? I don't want to hear nobody crying that, Ikem Ekwonu was out for the first 3 or 4 games and Yash Neiman or, Brady Christensen or whoever didn't do a good job. And that's why I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that this year. So the only smart and right move is to go out here and get one of these tackles to start off the draft, right? You know what I mean? If it's offensive, to me, it's offensive lineman or nobody, right? Now, push come to shove, the only outside, with that being said, the only option outside offensive lineman that I'm willing to consider, bruh, you know what I mean, um is the kid from the kid from Oregon, right? I know, I said we don't need no offensive players, yada yada yada. Sadiq, that's right, that's his name, Sadiq. I like Kenyon Sadiq. That dude is a monster when it comes to speed. We really got to push the ball up the seam with these tight ends. I don't believe in our tight end Trimble. You know what I mean? Um, and Jatavion Sanders, as much as I was high on him draft night, I have yet to kind of see fruition of him to kind of, be the tight end that I would like for him to be, And I don't know if it's due to injuries. I don't know if Bryce can't get the ball up the seam or what, but you know what I mean? Any good offense that really runs from um, a passing or vertical standpoint, it starts with inside out, right? You'll see a lot of good offenses run from the inside the numbers with their tight ends, you know what I mean? And then outside with their wide receivers, right? T-Mac has been phenomenal for us, right? And I see him continue to be phenomenal. But you got to be able to draw those safeties' eyes and those linebackers' eyes to that seam, that middle of that field. Imagine if we had a tight end that can occupy space up the field, right? Think about how much fucking more loose coverage, that equals to T-Mac because there's another threat. Jalen Croker's another one. He's a good guy, man. Good. He, take the top off of defense and shit too. But we got to get some help in between the numbers, dog. You know what I mean? You're literally not occupying that space, in between the numbers. So, teams can play you with a shell over top, right? You know what I mean? and make it harder for guys like T-Mac and our outside guys. So yeah, tight end is something I'll consider. I don't know about first round. To me, Kenyon, if our two offensive linemen are out there, you know what I mean, you want the best player available and Kenyon's there, which I don't think he will be at 19. Somebody I'll consider. But to me, it's offensive lineman at that number 19 pick. It's just simple put, you know what I mean? It's not even close, bro. You know what I mean? So what I will say is this right here, man. This free agency has already been, um, off to a good start, man. I think you can probably try to find a way to go get one of these offensive linemen I just mentioned. You know what I mean? You probably get one of those guys here. Another person you can consider here is probably a defensive tackle out here in free agency, man. Um, it's a shame. You know what I mean? I like our linebacking core, but it's a shame that Derek Brown, to me, the best defensive tackle in the NFL, has no help on the D line, Trayshawn Wharton is not that's not my optimal defensive tackle that I want in a 3-4. Trayshawn Wharton or defensive end in a 3-4, or having Ashawn Robinson at nose tackle. You know what I mean? Come on, man. You're literally running a 3-4 with budget defensive lineman. Outside of Derek Brown, that rest of that defensive line is budget, man. You know what I mean? No disrespect. It is what it is, man. You know what I mean? When you go back and you look at the Ravens of the 2000s, when you go back and look at the Steelers and shit, the Cam Hayward, Tony Sogusas, when you look at how 3-4 is usually anchored by beefed up defensive linemen, right? So we got to find a way. Imagine if we had Derek Brown and then we had, another solid defensive lineman of equal caliber to him on that D line, and then stick these linebackers behind them, dog. You'll be surprised, right, dog? So, so yeah, man. Um, Cornerback is another option I will consider. Shout out to Mike Jack. Mike Jack absolutely killed it this year. I'm a believer in Mike Jack. I told y'all going into last year, only MJ I respected was Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson. But I tell you what, I'm believing in this Michael Jackson right here, man. He's earned my respect as a solid number two corner. So I still think we need a nickel corner, man. Um, Shy Smith Wade. I mean, shit, man. I don't, I'm not sold on him. You know what I mean? Just to keep it PC, I'm not really sold on him. So maybe a third round pick or second round pick on another corner here will be good. JC Horn stay healthy for the moment. You know what I mean? Hopefully he can run it back again. Let's do 2 years healthy, right? God willing, right? Um, we got to get rid of Nick Scott. I don't know why he's still on this team. Nick Scott's a big liability. I know we picked up Isaiah Simmons, former Clemson Tiger there. So I don't know. Maybe Isaiah Simmons comes in and plays pretty good, or Damani Richardson comes in, and somebody has to step up at that free safety spot. I'm not necessarily sold on that, so keep that in mind right there. Um, so yeah, outside of this defense, this is coming together quite nicely, man. Outside of that, I would like one more D line, one more cornerback. I ain't sold on Nick Scott, but outside of that, man, I think patience. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily want to reach for shit, right? But to me, it's starting to show up, starting to come together, right? Starting to come together. I feel like this is the year that the Panthers really gonna make a run. You see what the Falcons did with Tua Tagovailoa. You know what I mean? They're not serious, right? The Saints, you know what I mean? They brought in Trevor Etienne. You know what I mean? That was cute, but the Saints ain't shit. You know what I mean? So, the Buccaneers, they lost Mike Evans. I mean, come on, my God. I mean, what more can we do, dog? What more can we do if Mike Evans is gone, Alvin Kamara finna be gone. I mean, Falcons got two. If we can't take this shit this year, then we don't deserve it, bro. We don't deserve it, man. You know what I mean? We don't fucking deserve it. So like, um, Yeah, I think this is our year to really just kind of. I mean, last year we backed into the playoff. We got helped by the Atlanta Falcons, right? And so it is what it is, right? But at the end of the day, man, I think we look like the big dogs in the division. You know what I mean? I know Baker's still gonna have something to say with it. Don't get it twisted. The Bucks still got a hell of an offense, right? You still got Bucky Urban. You still got Emeka Ibuka, who is that's the reason why they were comfortable with letting Mike Evans go. If you paid attention, Emeka Ibuka was a dog for a good bit of the season, and Chris Godwin. I mean, he stayed healthy. You know what he is. So, but I'm not scared of the Buccaneers. You know what I mean? Not scared of them. You know what I mean? Especially with this defense now. With this defense shaping up to be what it's gonna be, man. Yeah, I'm not scared of them, man. So, but at the end of the day, we got still got to take care of business, and all this shit is on paper, and niggas got to stay healthy as well, man. So, to me, you know, what more can we do in free agency? If you ask me, man, probably grab one of these, veteran offensive linemen. That'll make my mind a little easier here. I know a lot of you guys are still talking about wide receivers, man. I'll be honest with you, man. Bryce has enough weapons at the wide receiver room, okay? Um, I still think they may bring in somebody in a later round. Maybe somebody slips, you know what I mean? Maybe somebody's there and we pick them up, you know what I mean? You got the speedster out of Tennessee. I don't know if you guys know Chris Brazzell, University of Tennessee. Pretty good dude, man. Um, I know now listen, I know I'm launching here. I know I'm reaching here. Okay. I know he's not. We're not going to get him. Okay. So let me say this again. I know we're not going to get him, but man, I would love to see my dog Zacharias Branch over here, you know what I mean, from the University of Georgia. Nah, no, I'm reaching, man. I'm reaching. That's not gonna happen, man. But I can't be mad at it. But yeah, this wide receiver class is loaded. So, keep your eye open, maybe third, fourth round. We somehow slip up and get somebody that's, slided through the crack. You know what I mean? Maybe Stribling from Mississippi. Remember Ole Miss Stribling? We do love our Ole Miss receivers, remember? So he was pretty good last year for them Rebels down there, man. So who knows, man? I don't think they're done yet by far with this receiver room. Um, Kenny Pickett, man. Let me talk about that signing, man. A lot of people were caught off guard by that. Is Kenny Pickett being brought into, uh, is Kenny Pickett brought in to take Bryce Young's job? No, man, no. Kenny Pickett is a guy who I think is a very interesting product. We brought him in for 1 year. If you guys don't know, we paid him 7.5 million. And you know, Andy Dalton was getting paid 7.5 million for 2 years, right? So we brought him in for 1 year. I think this is more so of having, you know, Andy Dalton probably can get moved on from. But I'll tell you this, I hate to play devil's advocate, right? But Kenny Pickett is not as bad as people like to paint him as, right? So last year he was a backup behind Geno Smith, didn't get a lot of burn. Okay. The year before he was a backup on the Eagles behind Jalen Hurts. He was in training camp with the Browns. Okay. So outside of the Philadelphia Eagles situation, he was in bad situations, dog. You know what I mean? Shitty Browns quarterback roster team. You know what I mean? Then he was with the fucking Raiders behind Geno Smith. You know what I mean? And then he was set behind Jalen Hurts. Okay. But tell me this. Let's see how smart you guys are in the audience. The last time Kenny Pickett started on this team, I mean, started on a team in 2023, what was their record? Kenny Pickett in 2023, the last time he started a NFL season, started quarterback, what's the record? They won 10 games, okay? They won 10 games with the Steelers. He had 1,100 yards with George Pickens, 700 yards with Deontay Johnson, okay? 10 games. And Najee Harris had over 1,100 yards. And I think, I'm not saying that he's coming in here to take Bryce's job. Please don't put that in my mouth, man. No homo. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, this team with this good defense we got, and I'm pretty sure we got a solid offense here. You know what I mean? If you ask me, you know what I mean? Solid enough, shit. Push come to shove, if Bryce gets off to a 1-3 start. Now, last year we got off to a 1-3 start. And by the grace of God, we had a guy who rushed for 200 yards in like three straight games, and we managed to fucking claw our way back into the season. That shit ain't happening this year. I'm telling you, man, if you look at this schedule, that shit ain't happening this year. And that guy who rushed for 200 yards, that nigga gone. So you let Bryce get out to a 1-3 start, you know what I mean, and think you're gonna come back and play the Disney and Disney homecoming shit. It ain't happening. Matter of fact, let's take a look at this schedule real quick. Give me a second. So Kenny Pickett, man, they probably, man. I mean, unfortunately, with this being his fifth year option for Bryce, they gonna let him see it through, man. But there's gonna be some real serious conversation. We get off to a rough start, whether or not to let this boy, hold it together here. Stay right there. We got the Falcons twice, Saints twice, Bucks twice, regular divisional foes. Then we got the Bears, the Lions, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns. You got the Packers, the Vikings, Steelers, Broncos, Seattle, Philadelphia. God damn. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let me just now listen, man. Now listen to me, man. From what I know, man. Okay, this is gonna be rough. Let's just take a look at outside of our division, right? Let's take a look outside of our division. We got the Bears, you know what I mean, at home. Okay. Caleb Williams had a great season last year. I like our edge rushers. I like our cornerbacks, man. I really do. I really do, man. And based off of this updated moves here, bro, I think we probably could get the Bears at home. I initially said that we could lose to them, but what we did yesterday in this cornerback room, Caleb Williams ain't nobody to be scared of if you can move him off his spot, right? So I initially said we'll lose to the Bears. I'll say we beat them. That's one win, right? You got the Lions at home. I just, listen, I think the Lions are a different kind of animal, man. I think that's the loss. You got the Ravens at home. You're not beating the Ravens at home. I don't care what you say. I don't want to understand it. Don't, just keep that to yourself. We're not beating the Ravens at home. Okay. You got Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, man. I like what we're doing. And Joe Burrow can be sacked. I don't see Joe Burrow get sacked 5, 6, 7 fucking times in the game and still goddamn come back and 500 yards, with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and stuff like that. Um, I think this is a close game, but I still think we lose, right? You got the Cleveland Browns. I think that's win number two. You got the Packers in Green Bay. I think, look, it took us 200 fucking yards to beat Green Bay last time on the ground. Nah, that shit ain't happening again. You lose to Green Bay. You got Minnesota in Minnesota. Um, I ain't worried about Minnesota, man. I heard he could get Kyler Murray. Minnesota, I like Justin Jefferson. Something's going on up there. I'm not sure what the hell they got, man. But Justin Jefferson probably gonna want to trade. So that's win number three. So we got the Bears win. You got the Browns win. We got Minnesota win. Okay. You got Pittsburgh. You got Rico Dowdle. You know what I mean? You got Michael Pittman. You got, DK Metcalf, TJ Watt and them boys. Shit, I just don't see us beating Pittsburgh, dog. Okay? Up in Pittsburgh. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers the quarterback. I don't know if Kyler Murray's the quarterback. But whoever that quarterback is, they're gonna have a nice little onslaught of weapons. Okay? Now, are you listening to me? Hopefully you guys are listening. Now, I got us beating the Bears, the Browns, okay? Minnesota. Then we got Denver, Seattle, and Philadelphia. Okay. Lost to Denver, lost to Seattle, lost to So that's three straight, dog. We got Denver lost, Seattle lost, Philadelphia lost. Okay. So we got Bears win one. We got the Browns win two. Minnesota win three. Okay. You got the Saints. You know what I mean? Um, I think we split with the Saints. That's 4 wins. You got the Buccaneers. We get swept by the Buccaneers again. I'm sorry, y'all. Buccaneers sweeping our ass again. Okay? And then you got the Falcons. Here's the good news. Bryce owns the Falcons. So there go your 6 wins. Okay? You got Bryce sweeps the Falcons. That's 2 wins. You split with the Saints. That's 3 wins. Chicago, 4 wins. Browns, 5 wins. Minnesota, 6 wins. That's it. There you go. Nigga, your season right there, brother. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. But I like what we doing, man. I like what we doing. It just the schedule is brutal, brother. It's a brutal ass schedule, man. Big Bo Nix, man, and then you got Sam Darnold and JSN dog. Um, why would we get swept by the Bucks, man? Shit, man. Baker, dog. You got Baker, you got Mbuka, you know what I mean? Shit, Chris Godwin. We got swept by the Bucks last year, brother. That's a good question. Why did we get swept last year? Mike Evans was hurt most of those times, brother. You know what I mean? Hey, that's a good question, Abraham. Why did we lose last year? Yeah, I see it. Ain't nothing changed. I said 6 wins, dog. You know what I mean? Yeah. Bears is a surprise. I guess if you want to call that an upset win, you know what I mean? Bears is an upset win. You know what I mean? I ain't really worried about Caleb. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, man. You know what I mean? Y'all gotta understand, man. And no disrespect to anybody, dog. We backed in to the fucking. I'm sorry. Yeah, we didn't get swept last year. I apologize. I apologize. We didn't get swept by the Bucks last year. We will this year though. Y'all gotta understand. We backed into the playoff though, dog. You know, I know a lot of you guys are high off of coming off the playoff, dog. We got in on the playoff off of a coattail off the Atlanta Falcons, brother. You know what I mean? I think a lot of you guys have the mindset as if we dominated this division, dog. We overachieved last year, man. And I appreciate the overachieve, right? Anytime you overachieve, you got to respect that. But also, let's put things into perspective here, man. It was something that wasn't meant to happen. We're ahead of our training curve, right? Where we was last year probably was where we're supposed to be this year. You see what I'm saying? Us making the playoffs and shit like that. We were scheduled to make the playoff this year. That wasn't supposed to happen last year. You know what I mean? But by luck, we got in. Okay. So, you know what I mean? They got the right mindset though. You know what I mean? They're putting nicer defense around Bryce. You know what I mean? Um, I see what they're doing. I see the vision. You know what I mean? Schedule's brutal, man. Shit, man, it's brutal. I'm just looking at this schedule, man. I think we're gonna be able to make some noise. I tell you what this linebacking core does, right? This linebacking core allows for you to play Chicago, a playoff team, Chicago, and beat them at home. Yeah, that's what that linebacking core does, brother. hmm That same linebacking core that we got today, this nice fire linebacking core, it's probably gonna make that Cincinnati game with Joe Burrow a lot interesting, a hell of a lot interesting, right? A game that should be a blowout. If Joe Burrow stays healthy, first of all, right, should be a blowout. But because we got the linebacking core we got, we're gonna make life miserable for Joe Burrow. But I still think, like I said, I seen Burrow, get sacked 5, 6 times, and that nigga still fucking beat your ass. That's the kind of quarterback he is. That's Joe Cool right there, brother. You know what I mean? Which he probably gonna want out of Cincinnati here soon anyway. I like what we're doing, man. Great job in free agency, man. Kenny Pickett. I like that nice little insurance policy. You know what I mean? I like Jalen Phillips, dog. I definitely like, Devin Lloyd. We finally got a linebacker. I don't want to put him in the stratosphere of Luke Kuechly, right? He's a nice inside linebacker. And he's not a liability against the pass. He's not a liability against the run. Probably one of the most balanced inside linebackers you're going to find in the NFL. Love it. I love what they're doing with this linebacking core. This linebacking core is going to make games a lot more closer. You know what I mean? Going to give Bryce probably 2 or 3 more chances that he didn't have last year to win games that he only had one chance to win in, right? But ultimately, man, with this schedule, you know what I mean? And just Bryce in general, man, I don't see him overcoming, you know, some of these games, man. And bro, look, to beat a Baltimore, bro, man, look, man, that's a lie, brother. You see what Baltimore's doing, dog. You know what I mean? Not to glaze them, right? We're gonna have to, you're gonna have to nut up to beat Baltimore, dog. I mean, you got Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, what they're doing, right? You got Big Bo Knicks, brother. Damn, bro. And then you got Seattle, man, coming off a chip. And then you got Philadelphia with all those fucking demons they got on defense, bro. I mean, it's just God damn it, bro. You really gonna have to be in your bag, dog. Not to say that we can't. You know what I mean? My level of trust with Bryce Young is still the same, man. Like, you know what I mean? I know he had a good little playoff game against the Rams or whatever, you know what I mean? That's cool, man. But look, bro, you know what I mean? Let's not act like we didn't back into the playoff and we, you know, just so happen to have a good performance, right? I don't want to take anything away from anything. I'm just like, let's put things into context, right? So yeah, man, good showing so far, free agency. I like what we're doing, man. I think the future's bright. And we're headed on the right track, you know what I mean, with Bryce or without Bryce, man. This thing is coming together quite nice. We got the Offensive Rookie of the Year on our team. We got one the best linebacking core in the NFC South. You know what I mean? Took a step back in the running back department, you know what I mean? Offensive line scares me a little bit. You know, Taylor Moton's starting to get old, you know what I mean? You turn around and you got Keem McCorn who hurt. This defensive line kind of scares me a little bit with Trayshawn Wharton, who's mid as hell. You know, Ashawn Robinson mid as hell. I like to see it. Can we draft a defensive lineman that can, help Derek Brown out? That's what you guys should be yelling. Let's get a D lineman to help Derek Brown out. You know what I mean? A linebacking core is perfect to me. I'm a believer in Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Shout out to Travion Morning, man. Travion Morning, you know what I mean? And Lathan Ransom, man. Them boys come to play. You know what I mean? So I see the vision, brother. It's not quite there though. Wide receiver room outside of Jalen Croker, you know what I mean? And Bryson Tremaine, he played big, um, a couple times last year, you know what I mean? Jimmy Horn's still there, but Jimmy Horn, I think he's still a work in progress. To me, I'm surprised anybody tried to trade Leggett yet. That's what we should be trying to do, get Leggett the hell up out of here. You know what I mean? Hell, either give Bryson Tremaine more snaps or Jimmy Horn. I don't think Jimmy Horn's quite ready to have more snaps, man. You know what I mean? Especially with him dropping the ball in the playoff game. Anyway, he ain't ready for the stage yet. So, you know, salute to him. You know what I mean? But I can see us bringing in another wide receiver. You know what I mean? And kind of we gotta find a way, man. And it's tight end as well. It's tight end room. We gotta figure that shit out too. Another concern you should be able to worry about is this running back room. Now, Chuba Huber did rush for 1,000 yards the year before, but you know. He had a nice little insurance policy last year where he kind of took a season off. You know what I mean? Rico Dotto gave him a season off, but what happened if Chupa gets hurt? What happened if Chupa get hurt? Right? We got Jonathan Brooks back there. Shout out to my Georgia Bulldog. You got ETN, Trevor ETN, but Lord knows I don't trust him, Mister Fumbleitis. And Jonathan Brooks, that nigga knee ain't healthy, bro. You know what I mean? If this guy is our number two running back, you niggas in trouble, brother. You niggas in trouble, man. So don't get it twisted. I love what they're doing so far, free agency. Still a lot of holes, man. The biggest hole you asked me is this offensive line, right? Which I'm assuming that they're going to the draft. So I'm not tripping off that. Like I said earlier, if you're new to the channel, man, the number one pick for us should either be Spencer Fano or Monroe Freeling from University of Georgia, man. To me, if those guys are available, again, if those guys are available, if both those tackles are gone, which that is a likely scenario, man, then we got to look at best player available, man. So that's gonna be interesting. I wanted to get the linebacker from Texas Tech, but we got Devin Lloyd, right? So Devin Lloyd and C.J. Allen were two, not Devin Lloyd, but C.J. Allen and the linebacker for Texas Tech were both on my board, taking them off far as the first round pick, since we already filled that void so far. So You know what I mean? If the Panthers go outside of offensive tackle, offensive line, or you know what I mean, even if they go get a center or some shit like that, I won't be mad. But if they go outside of that, man, it better be a hell of a number. I mean, it better be somebody who slid, right? You know what I mean? If the Panthers sitting there and they're at 19 and we got one of those tackles on the board and we skip over them, man, shit, I'm gonna be pissed, bro. I'm gonna be pissed, man. Unless that's just, somebody that's just so damn dynamic that you say, hey man, I gotta skip over it. I gotta go get him. That's the only thing, you know what I mean? I heard some people want the wide receiver. What's the Lemon, Micaiah Lemon from USC. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna be there anyway. But if he was there, I don't want him. I can tell you right now, the dude already look like he's high out of his fucking mind. You know what I mean? You see that interview he did, and he was zoomed on the podium. And sometimes, like, shout out to the gentleman that was in the chat the other day. Sometimes they do that shit to kind of make their draft stock fall because they don't want to go to a sorry team. You know what I mean? So I get it, man. But nah, I'm cool on him. Okay. The receiver I want, man, you know what I mean, is my nigga from UGA, dog. I'm biased, right? Because I'm literally like 5 minutes away from the campus, right? So I'm biased. I am a Georgia Bulldogs fan, but yeah, Branch, Zachariah Branch, man, that nigga's a dog. He's absolutely a dog, right? I know edge rusher Cassius Howell is there, man. For the taking, but we look good right now, man. We look good, man. I definitely can see. Um, Dan Morgan dipping back into the draft and probably picking up another edge rusher. But to me, like right now, I think we cool on edge rushers, dog. You know what I mean? Don't forget you still got my man from Ole Miss still there. You know what I mean? What's his name? Shit, what's his name? Oh buddy, what's his name, dog? Prince Umanley. Yeah, you still got Prince Umanley there, man. So, you know what I mean? I like what we did, man. So I'm not gonna trip. I think we already got enough edge rushers, man. How many edge rushers we gonna have, man? But yeah, I mean, I won't trip off. To me, it's offensive line, right? Offensive lineman a bust, right? Get a tight end or something later. Shout out to Matt Jones. He said, got in the playoff with a losing record. Joke team, joke franchise. Yeah, listen, dog. That's what I try to get people to see, man. I'm not gonna say this team didn't, well, this team, I'll put it to you like this, man. This fucking team, man. It, it, they made it to the playoff and they showed up and they had a good showing, right? But let's not act like they earned their way there. Okay, they still had a losing record. The Panthers still have not had a winning record. What, since 2018 or 2017? Panthers still haven't had a winning record in a while. So again, they overachieved, right? They overachieved and they got lucky, right? Okay. So I see the vision. They're just not quite there. I don't quite believe in Bryce Steele. Okay. I'm not one of these, fanboys that's fanned out of their mind. Okay. Bryce Young threw for 3,000 yards and 23 touchdowns against 11 interceptions last year, which were the best numbers here in his career. Okay. 3,000 yards. Let me show you something. He threw for 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns. Let me show you something real quick. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. That was his best numbers, right? They're right there. Stay right there. Out of 32 quarterbacks, Bryce Young's number was 21st in passing yards out of 32 quarterbacks. 32 quarterbacks, man. 32 quarterbacks in passing yards. So look, man, although he had a good career, I mean, career high and shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's still, bro, like it ain't, it's not even average, dog. You know what I mean? Average is, 32 divided by what's that? 32 divided by 2. Let's see what the average is on that. You're talking about he would have to be 16 in order for him to be at least league average. Okay? It's at 21. So even in passing yards and his career high, he was below average. Do you not understand that? So it's like, you know what I mean? And last year, he's the direct beneficiary of Rico Dotto going AP in at least 2 games, 2 or 3 games. You take away 2 or 3 of them games, the Atlanta Falcons are division champs, or the Buccaneers are division champs. Rico Dotto's gone, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're looking at getting off to a 1-3 start and needing niggas to rush for 300 yards a game to save you, that nigga's gone. Yeah, that nigga is gone. Yeah. That shit ain't happening again, dog. So kudos to Bryce, man. You know what I mean? And I wish him success. I wish he wins. I hope he wins. I hope he prove me wrong. I listen. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I want them to lose. I hate that. Listen, I want them niggas to win. But it's just I don't believe in Bryce, bro. You know what I mean? I don't believe in Bryce, man. And that's my opinion. That's my opinion to have, and I really don't care what you think about it, man. You know what I mean? This nigga literally had 2 games against the Falcons, which he owns them. Yeah. 500 of those 3,000 yards came against the Falcons. Hey, think about that shit. 500 of his 3 grand. I mean, let's do the math. Let's do some math. Let's do some math, man. Oh, yeah. Give me a second. 500 of that nigga 3,000 yards came against the Falcons. Let me see. Let me see that. 500 of 3,000. Let's do the math. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna do the math. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right there. 500 at 3,000 yards. Okay. 1 second here. Give me 1 second. 1 second here. Let's do some math here. Shout out to Vin, man. He said they did good patching up that defense, but Chuba has to lock in, and Jonathan Brooks got to stop getting injured. Nah, there is no stop getting injured. He's no good. Stay right here. So Bryce threw for 3,000 yards. 500 of that came against the Atlanta Falcons. So on the other 15 teams he played, he averaged 166 yards passing. Average now. Average. We're just talking about average. Okay, so there were some games that was higher than that number, some games he was lower than that number, but average wise. So he played 2 games against the Falcons, threw for 3,000 yards, right? Those 2 games resulted into about 500 yards passing. The rest of the games he played averaged 166 yards passing. This is the nigga we about to pay 500 million to, dog. Now I'm being sarcastic with the 500 million, but we about to make this dude probably one of the richest quarterbacks in NFL history because the nigga dominated the Falcons for 500 yards. Fuck out of here, bro. Shout out to yeah, Jonathan Brooks is messed up, dog, man. I'm sorry, dog. You know what I mean? Brooks need a shot, man. Yeah, that nigga need a shot, dog. Hmm. That's what I'm saying. So, while we're looking in the draft or free agency, let's see what running backs are available so far in free agency, man. I know Kenneth Walker's gone. Let's see. And I don't trust Brooks and I don't trust Trevor Etienne here. Let's see what we got available. Let me say this here, man, and maybe you guys probably gonna laugh at me, but Alvin Kamara, you know what I mean? I know he gonna want some get back in his spirit. They just signed up Etienne, you know what I mean? So. maybe for the cheap, cheap, man. You know what I mean? Maybe for the cheap, cheap, we go get make a trade or make a play. You know what I mean? Make a play for Alvin Kamara. Make a little small little trade for Alvin Kamara. How about that? And put him in the mix, right? He's already, on his last leg here. Or you gonna think he gonna want some big name money. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable making a play for him, or maybe we outprice, let's say we outprice him, right? Or he want too much money. Do we turn to the draft and try to get a running back? But I'm telling you, man, Brooks needs a shot. You know what I mean? What about Michael Washington Jr. from Arizona? I mean, not Arizona, Arkansas. I know you niggas seen him at the combine. Yeah, nigga run on what, a 4.3. You niggas fucking with it? You know what I mean? He did rush for 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So maybe put Mike Washington Jr. behind him. But we got to find somebody to back up Chuba, man. Don't forget, you still got the Penn State running back. You got Singleton, man. You know what I mean? Hopefully nobody reaches for him. You know what I mean? There's still some good running backs in here, dog. And don't forget the other one, Allen, Katron Allen from as well. So maybe they got a plan to double dip, man. Go get another running back and, something of that nature in the draft. You know what I mean? But we got to find a way to fill that hole, that void that Rico Dotto left. Shout out to Cyclops TV. He said Panthers made a big splash. Yeah, they did a good job, man. I can't front. Did a very good job with this linebacker unit, man. They answered a void or filled a void that we needed, dog. They did a very good job. Filled a big, big void. Shout out to Vin. He said, "You're right, Big Cat. We need running back in case Chuba don't work out." That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Jonathan Brooks not the guy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's not the guy, brother. Yeah. You know, the guy already has multiple ACL injuries. I mean, to me, at this point, he's a sitting duck. You're just waiting for him to get hurt again. And I like to gamble, man, but I'm not gonna gamble with that. It's kind of like the Tua situation. It really don't make much sense, right? Tua already don't have like 5 concussions, and now niggas still paying him to come and play again. It just don't make sense. You know what I mean? Same way with Jonathan Brooks, man. I mean, nigga, you already don't have 2 or 3 ACLs. Like, what, you waiting on the third one, nigga? Fourth one? No, I'm gonna take my chances with it, dog. No, we need to move on. Cut bait. Shout out to Au- Audric Abraham. He said, "What about one of those star safeties in the draft?" That would be nice too, because Nick Scott got to get the hell on, brother. Yeah. Listen, I ain't wrong. Which star safety you looking at? Yeah, I mean, I like Rantham that we already got. I like Rantham. I like Trevian Morning. I think those guys are solid safeties. But hell, I mean, who are we looking at? Caleb Downs off the board. I know you got Dylan Thiemann from Oregon. I don't think he'll be there. You know what I mean? I would take a safety with our first pick. You know what I mean? But there's some nice options there, man. The star safety you're talking about, they're probably off the table, man. They're definitely off the table, man. Early anyway. You know what I mean? We could look at some of those cornerbacks too, man. We definitely need at least another nickel back here. How y'all feel about that kid from Clemson, Terrell, man? We missed out a couple years back on another kid from Clemson by the name of Terrell. He's doing pretty good here in Atlanta, man. So what about that? What do y'all know about Avian Terrell? Mm-hmm. Avian Terrell, man. I would like to see us get a nice little nickel back there. Whatever we do, I don't want us to have no fucking Gamecocks. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm okay with Clemson Tigers, man, but I'm all Gamecocked out, man. No more Gamecocks. Shout out to Salas to you. He said Rico won't do nothing. Well, I mean, listen, brother. I wish nothing but the best to Rico Dow, man. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's gonna do anything, man. But listen, brother, you got Michael Pittman on one side, you got DK Metcalf on the other side. You know what I mean? And then we don't know who their quarterback is. I don't know if it's what's the name? I don't know if it's still gonna be Rodgers. But shit, whoever that running back is, bruh, he's gonna be the secondary focus. I don't see how he could not go up there and not show out, bro, when you got those two gentlemen on the outside. I wish him the best, brother. I like what the Panthers are doing, man. I honestly do. I truly do, man. I'm gonna tell you this, and maybe you guys don't want to hear this, okay? Because I predict the Panthers probably get 6 wins this year. Okay, I really do. I think they're gonna get about 6 wins. But you guys need to don't get discouraged. It's all a part of the plan. You guys need to keep your eyes on the 2027 college big board because you got Julian Sayin coming out and you got Deontay Moore coming out from Oregon. Okay, so those are two quarterbacks that I really like. More so Sayin, right? You got Archie Manning coming out, Arch Manning, excuse me, coming out, but he just keep your eyes off Arch Manning. Arch Manning is, he's not our guy, right? That's probably the Dallas Cowboys. That's somebody else's guy. That's not our guy. Keep your eyes on Julian saying, you know what I mean? Maybe somebody of that nature, and we're gonna be all right. Okay. But this schedule is brutal, dog. Very brutal. Very brutal, man. You know what I mean? And one of my things is this, man, with this new linebacking core is with Jillian Phillips, you gotta worry about can he stay healthy, right? So we don't know. Last year he was kind of like the J.C. Horn situation. Remember he signed J.C. Horn and niggas were scared. I was one of them, scared that he was gonna get hurt because he'd been hurt all year, all career. Well, he showed up and he showed out. So maybe Jalen Phillips did the same thing. And with Devin Lloyd here, man, had a great year, man. But you also got to find out, worry about, do players get content when they get paid? You know what I mean? This ain't me just reaching shit out my ass. This is stuff that is known and has been proven, dog. Certain players, man, when they get the bag, they just kind of cool out. You know what I mean? They're on the contract, they got their money, you know what I mean? So, you know, we'll see. We'll see here. I don't know. Shout out to Tim. He said, I think you give the Ravens too much credit. They may find out that hardball wasn't the issue. Look at Big Tim there. Well, Tim, I got the Ravens going to the Super Bowl. And shit, brother, look, brother, you know what I mean? Lamar Jackson, Derek Brown, Zay Flowers, you know what I mean? Um, bro, that defense is full of Georgia Bulldogs. Tim, I don't know what team you root for. Probably them shitty ass Tar Heels, brother. But I want you to come down. I want you and Elaine to come down here. We're gonna go to this Georgia. I want you to watch this Georgia shit up close, brother. And then they got man Matabuke, they got Max Crosby, they got Roquan Smith, you got Nate Wiggins, David Obajayo, you got Malachi Starks. I watched this nigga play up front. Marlon Humphreys. It's not fair, bro. That shit ain't fair. That Ravens team ain't fucking fair, bro. Hey, Tim, that Raven team ain't fair, bro. Nigga, that Raven team ain't fair, dog. Damn what you say. That Raven team ain't fair, brother. I'm gonna come down and watch that game up front, you know what I mean? But that Raven team ain't fair, brother. Yeah. You gonna see. Maybe it wasn't hardball, but they got too much talent on there not to win, right? Same like us, bro. I think we gonna run a division, man. You know what I mean? Stay right there. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me see what our let's see what our divisional opponents have been doing. Give me a second. Let's see what our divisional opponents have been doing in free agency. I'm not scared of the NFC side. I mean, you got Baker, man. Baker probably still gonna do what Bake does. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. But even then, man, I still think we gotta play. Let me a second. Oh yeah. Give me 1 second here. The Patriots just signed Elijah Vera Tucker as well. That was a nice pickup. NFL free agent my division. Give me 1 second here. Let me see what we're doing. All right, let me put it up here. All right, stay right there. Let's take a look at our division. NFC South. So far, Tampa Bay got Kenneth Gainwell, Cade Otton, Alex Anzalone, right? Not really worried about that. Not worried about Kenneth Gainwell. Um, I heard we could get their running back, their other running back. What's the skinny nigga name? Not Bucky Irvin. What's the other nigga name? At one point, I heard we were linked to him. What's the other Buccaneers running back, y'all? What's the other Buccaneers? I heard we were linked to him at some point. Okay. So the Saints, you got Travis Etienne, Noah Fant, David Edwards, Julian Blackman, Ryan Wright at punter. You know what I mean? They got a nice little, 1-2 punch tight end. And, hey, I like to say, we can split with the Saints. I think we still can split with the Saints, man. But don't surprise if them motherfuckers come in and sweep our ass too. You know what I mean? Tyler Schultz, man, nigga, the truth. Now you add ETN and Noah Fant back there. Okay. Still not really worried about them. Atlanta Falcons, Tua Donga, right? They franchise Kyle Pitts. They got Jahad Dawson, nobody. Amlaziah Zacchaeus, nobody. Austin Hooper, nobody. Man, if we don't stop playing with this division, bro, if we don't stop playing with this division, dog, ain't nobody got better but us, bro. I guess you could say, the running back room for New Orleans got a little better, and maybe the tight end room better than us, you know what I mean, in New Orleans. But as far as in free agency, ain't nobody doing nothing better than us so far. Now let's keep in mind now. Let's not get too happy. This is on paper, okay? I don't want us to blow our wad too fast, but yeah, on paper, nigga, shit, we look like the big dogs in the NFC South, and I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it, dog. Shout out to Doug. He said, "Watch your mouth, Mister M. Keep them Tar Heels between the hedges." Yeah, nigga. You know how the Bulldogs give it up. Come on. You a fan of the Bulldogs, nigga. Marco said, Big K, you back full time or not? Nah, I'm playing. I ain't back. Shout out to Eli. He says, Brock Purdy, CMC, Mike Evans, George Kittles. Niners fans always get what they want. Hey, let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something. I shouldn't do this. I hate to do this. Let me tell you how much I believe in the Niners, and let me show you how much I believe in the Ravens. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna put this on the screen here. I shouldn't do this, but I want you niggas to get this money. I want you to get it early. Give me a second. Let me show you how much I believe in the Niners and how much I believe in the Ravens. Give me 1 second. Because I put my money where my mouth is, right? Yeah, I put my money where my shit. Give me 1 second. A lot of people be saying, man, I think they're gonna be good. Hold on, let me show you something real quick. Give me 1 second, brother. Let me show you something, Eli. Give you 1 second real quick. Open this thing back up. All right. That right? Do you see that right there? That's how much I believe in them right there. Yeah, I'm putting my money on mine, dog. Yeah, Ravens, Niners, Super Bowl, bro. Put my dollar on it, G. If you got rebet, go ahead and get in. And I'm putting 100. I'm putting another ticket in with 100 on it, bro. Yeah, Ravens, Niners, Super Bowl. You see it on the screen. Go ahead and get it. You know what I mean? Get that money, bro. Mike Evans going out there. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're gonna win it. You know what I mean? But shit, bro. There you go. Put that money out there, bro. Yeah. Don't say Big Cat ain't never done nothing for you, man. That's easy money, brother. Mike Evans, Kittles, and who else you say? CMC. Yeah, it ain't even fear, dog. It ain't even fear. Not even fear, dog. Yep. Shout out to let me see who we got in the chat, man. Big Splash. Yeah, yeah, Big Splash. They did do a good job. Are the Carolina Panthers a joke still? Nah, I mean, look, man, shit. Bryce Young is your quarterback. It's hard to take him serious, man. But you know what I mean? You know, if you say anything about bad about Bryce here, niggas start to trip. You know what I mean? So I don't want to offend the Bryce community. But yeah, man, look, man, we're gonna see what he really about, man. He has yet to have a winning season, right? Last time I checked, Bo Nix got a winning season, rookie. You know what I mean? Last time I checked, Drake May winning season. Last time I checked, Jaden Daniels winning season. You know what I mean? So how many winning seasons have we had under Bryce Young? It seemed like we focus on everything but the winning department, right? We like to talk about how nice of a guy he is. We like to talk about him dominating the Falcons. The Falcons, let me tell you something. The Falcons ain't shit, okay? Okay? The Falcons are the dumbest organization in football. I mean that. If you don't believe me, just turn your TV on. Okay. So, we talk when it comes to Bryce, we like to lower the bar for him, right? Nigga ain't done shit, man. Got carried by a running back last year, man. And shout out to Ted McMillan, man. You know what I mean? Ted bailed his ass out a lot too. So you will see. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe this is a motivation for him, right? Maybe having this big ass, powerful ass linebacker unit. Maybe this is the start of something good for Bryce, right? Maybe this defense can score, have one of the highest scoring and touchdown ratios, right? I already know what's gonna go down. You know what's gonna happen? I already know what's gonna happen. This defense is gonna be a turnover machine, dog. This defense is going to be motherfucking with Devin Lloyd, Jalen Phillips. You already got fucking J.C. Horn with his 4 or 5 interception. You got Michael Jackson with his 3 or 4 interception. These niggas are going to be pick sixing, motherfucking fumble, force fumble. Man, we're going to be winning games like a motherfucker because the defense is going to be on niggas' ass, bruh. And watch this shit. We still going to get about 7 wins. We're going to get 7 wins. And we're gonna find a way to have a triple tie again at the end of the season. We got a number one defense, number one scoring defense. I bet you had a number one scoring defense, dog. Anybody want to make that bet? We had a number one scoring defense. Fuck around, win 7 games. We're gonna have to need a triple tie to get in. And they can say, "Ooh, Bryce did it. Bryce did it." No, nigga, that number one scoring defense did it. I'm sorry, I'm a little biased, man. I just don't care for the gentleman, man. Mhm. In closing here, we're going to wrap this thing up here, man. If you want to know about the free agency, man, great job. Haven't heard any news here. If you look at what's available, what's still left out here, I mean, it's pretty much scraps. Um, you could try to go after a nickelback here, cheap ass little nickelback. You got Roswell Douglas, man, a guy who used to play big for us before he went to the Packers and got paid. I know he's older now, but he's a nice veteran corner, bro. Roswell Douglas is a nice veteran corner, 31 years old. You might want to consider bringing him back for pennies on the dollar, right? You know what I mean? Older gentleman, played well with the Packers, with the Dolphins now. Might want to consider Roswell Douglas. You know what I mean? If not, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Probably go to the draft or whatever. Uh, Jonathan Allen's available. Holy smokes, Jonathan Allen's available, man. What do you? How did he come available? Jonathan Allen's available, man, on the market. Hmm. Nobody's picked him up. Let me see something. Dan Morgan, if you love me, Dan Morgan, go get Jonathan Allen, man. Go get Jonathan Allen. I'm gonna tell you what, man. I'm gonna tell you what. To really make this defense pop. I mean, hell, I mean, you already got Ashawn Robinson, right? You got Ashawn Robinson, you got Trayshawn Wharton. Ashawn Robinson old as hell, right? I'm gonna help you out there, Morgan. If you really want to go ahead and fix this D line, at least temporary, anyway, go ahead and make that call. Go ahead and get Jonathan Allen, right? And on top of that, go ahead and get you're gonna like this one. Go ahead and get Cameron Jordan. Go ahead and get those two gentlemen. They both old as hell, man. Get them on a 1 year deal, dog. Yeah, go ahead and call up my nigga Cam Jordan. You know what I mean? The guy who used to torment the Carolina Panthers. Go pick up my nigga Cameron Jordan and bring him here, man. Y'all forget, man, a couple years back, Calais Campbell, man, who played with the Atlanta Falcons. Um, when he first got there, I believe he had let's see, how many sacks did he have? See, when he first got with Atlanta, he had 10 and a half sacks. Yeah, yep, 10 and a half sacks. I believe he was what, 36 then? What was he, 36 or 35? What was he, 35, 36? Calais Campbell at 35, 36 years old, when he got to Atlanta 2 years ago, had 10 and a half sacks. Go get Cam Jordan. Stop fucking playing, bro. Go bring Cam Jordan to us, dog. Put him outside there, man. Him and Derek Brown, two veterans, man. I would love that so much. I don't like that nigga as a foe. As a foe, I never liked it, Cam Jordan, but man, go get that nigga, bro. Go get Cam Jordan, bro, and stick that nigga next to um stick that nigga on the outside and go get Allen as well, man. Let's wrap this shit. Let's wrap this free agency up, dog. You gotta understand he's gonna be motivated to come back and play the Saints twice a year, right? And it ain't like we need the old Cam Jordan, right? We don't need the nigga that's averaging 12, 13 sacks. Obviously, I know the nigga old, right? But what I'm saying is, with Derek Brown taking on a blunt of a two-man double team, man, Cam Jordan gonna be left with a lot of one-on-ones, bro. You know what I mean? Now I ain't saying now if we need him to anchor our defense, like say, oh, he's the guy that's no, we don't need him to do that, dog. We don't need him to do that. And that way, Bryce can really have no excuse, bro. Go get Jonathan Allen from the Minnesota Vikings, put him at the nose, bro, and go get Cam Jordan and put him at the other end, dog. And man, let's rock the fuck out, terrorize niggas, bro. I would love that. Oh my God, I would love that. I would love that so much, brother. And the funny thing about it is, it's not even a dream, dog. This is real. This could be reality, dog. You know what I mean? None of them niggas are overpriced. Both them niggas are old as hell, right? But shit, nigga, all we need them is to be serviceable about a year or two. You know what I mean? While we figure this draft shit out. You know what I mean? Mm, whatever, man. It's just food for thought. I don't know if you niggas rocking with it. Me, I don't know. I don't know, man. But Trayshawn Wharton and Ashawn Robinson ain't it, man. I mean, sure, it is what it is. Said what I said, nigga. You know what I mean? See if we got any updates so far. What's going on? Any news today? Any news today? Let's see. Real quick, man, how y'all feel about DJ Moore going to Buffalo, man? Got traded to Buffalo. DJ Moore. I like DJ, man. I'll say this right here. I met his mama and his fiance. Good man. I briefly talked to him. Pretty cool dude, real good brother, man. But I think he's gonna do quite well in Buffalo. I think he's gonna get between 12 to 1400 yards um receiving. But um I'll say this. He's not gonna be the guy to get Josh Allen over the hump. Nice guy. He's not the Carolina DJ Moore. I'll put it to you like this. When you look at receivers and you look at just complete game changers, you look at Puka, Nua, um, you look at JSN, hell, even like a Tyreek Hill. You look at guys that literally put the fucking game in their hand and just dominate, right? DJ Moore is a guy who can get his, but if you're talking about carry your ass to multiple wins and just nobody fears DJ Moore. No homo. I mean, not no homo, man, but like, no disrespect. I'm sorry. No, I said no homo. No disrespect. Nobody fears DJ Moore. Good, nice, humble guy, and a productive guy. Very goddamn productive. Very productive, man. But ultimately, ultimately, it's not enough, brother. You know what I mean? He's gonna get his, and the Bills probably still win by 10 games. You know what I mean? But he's not. Nobody's scared of DJ Moore. Yeah. Then when you line up against Puka the even Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams, what, 36, 37 years old? Niggas scared of that. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody scared of fucking DJ Moore. hmm But this defense, man, I got to tell you, man. In closing here, man, very good job. I'm looking forward to see what else they're doing in free agency, man. I can't wait. You know what I mean? See what else they're doing. And if they're smart, um, I think they'll close out this free agency, probably going after maybe. Um, I like them see go after those two guys I just mentioned, the two defensive linemen, Cam Jordan, maybe Jonathan Allen. Um, maybe get an offensive lineman, a corner, and then we'll just move on to the draft, right? I expect our first round pick to be lineman, offensive lineman. If we don't get a first round pick in the offensive lineman, then I think it's BPA, right? And we'll go from there. Okay. But yeah, man, I appreciate you niggas rocking with me. As always, man. Y'all be good, man. And yeah, man, if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, share, subscribe. I'm not fully back, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm just in here having a good time talking today, you know what I mean? I appreciate you guys rocking with me, man. I really do, man. But yeah, I'm not back. I'm just enjoying to give you guys a little update. You guys deserve an update. But who knows? Who knows how this all play out here, right? Draft time, I'll definitely be back draft time, talk a little draft with you guys as well. So, man, I love you guys. Be good, man. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, man. We up out of here.